That is Brendan Tobin down in Miami. I'm Sean Levine here in Kansas City. Producer Jake somewhere in parts unknown. UFC 276, I know where that is. It's in Las Vegas tonight. Let's go ahead, BT, and break down the method to the madness. Let's start with that Jim Miller-Donald Cerrone fight because I thought we were on the same page, brother. I thought we were both backing the Cowboy. Are you taking Jim Miller tonight?
No, I'm not. I'm going to go with Cowboy tonight. I don't want to spoil best bets, but I got an old timers parlay that I think I'm going to go with tonight. I am going to go with Cowboy to get the win. I like Cowboy, dude. I like Cowboy in the way I like Matt Moore coming off the bench. You know, like I never want Matt Moore starting a game. I never want Matt Moore having a week of practice. But give me down 2 touchdowns and you got somebody injured or they just stinking up the joint. I'll take me some Matt Moore. I like Cowboy Cerrone on short notice.
I love how you talk about Matt Moore's comeback ability like he's Frank Reich or something like that.
Dude, Matt Moore off the bench, greatest quarterback ever. I'm just saying.
Okay. I'd rather have Mandy Moore as my quarterback, but what are you going to do? By the way, Mandy Moore, big UFC fan. She might be in the house tonight. Cowboy, of course, has the most bonuses of all time. He also has the most head kick finishes by all time. He's going to kick Jim Miller in the head tonight. Give me Cowboy by knockout. All right, let's make our way to this main card. Sean O'Malley takes on Pedro Munoz. Munoz has this chin, man, that nobody's been able to figure out. Sean O'Malley, though, has been able to figure out a bunch of different guys' chins. Do you want to play the plus 150 O'Malley by knockout, or is there a better way to make money?
Well, like right now, there's a little bit of a booster right now on FanDuel. If you want to jump to that, it's plus 300. And yeah, I do. I think Sean O'Malley's going to get the knockout tonight. I do think that Pedro Munoz is taking a lot of punishment. He's durable. I give him that. He's very, very durable, but I don't think he's been in there with a power puncher like O'Malley. I think Sugar knows that he has something to prove tonight. And if he doesn't, you know, there's going to be a lot of haters who'll be like, oh, see, real opponent could take it on. I think he knows that. I think he knows he needs to do something with style and flash. And I think he's going to get it done tonight.
Producer Jake was talking about the Pedro Munoz leg kicks, and that's kind of been the bugaboo of Sean O'Malley, right? Like, We've seen him literally win fights on his back when his leg gives out. So let's watch for that early and often tonight. If you want to pay Pedro by knockout, so let's say Sean O'Malley gets knocked out for the first time in the UFC, plus 800. I don't see it going that way, but if
you want to talk about what would be a hype train killer. Woo!
Wouldn't it though? Well, I think if Sean loses this fight in any form or fashion, because then we're going to look up and go, well, look, he's like 5-2 at that point in the UFC, and he's already lost to Chito Vera, who is going to be fighting, Dominic Cruz. So it's just like, I don't know, man. Like you said earlier, if the Sean O'Malley hype train is going to go to that next level, right, where he goes, top 7, top 8 after this, he's fighting guys in the top 5. Then we're talking about for a belt. He not only has to win tonight, but he has to win in impressive fashion. Although basically that's what he does, right?
Yeah, because definitely. And then it's like, because if you can't beat Pedro Munoz, all respect, like who is he beat? Like this division is stacked between Jan, Dillashaw, Aldo, Sandhagen, Chito he's already lost to, Merab, Rob Font, Dominic Cruz is like next guy in line at 8, and he's 100 years old. But like if you can't beat Pedro Munoz, then how for real are you?
I'll raise you a Pedro to a Piotr, because Piotr Jan said that if Sean O'Malley wins this fight, he said, call my name and I'll accept. So that'd be a fun one, right? If we get to see O'Malley versus Piotr Jan after this.
It would certainly be fun. It feels like O'Malley would be going from the kiddie pool to a Shark Tank. Like that feels like a way too big a jump for me. I for a guy who's been as calculated in his career, I would be surprised if he would say yes to that, unless I would be surprised until Jan has the has the strap on him. I would be surprised that he would take that fight.
Some of these guys you throw shade at doesn't make sense. Like you were talking your smack on Aljamain Sterling, and you realize that he beat Jan, right? Like that he's the guy with the belt. What? Am I wrong? Did I miss that?
Come on, bro.
Okay.
Come on, bro. I like Aljamain too. I like him. Don't get me wrong. Like I like the Funk Master, but like I just don't understand. Like how does he not punch? It's weird.
It is.
It's weird to be like look at a guy like Usman. Like Usman this week, they announced him versus Leon Edwards, and he's talking about all the work that he put in with Trevor Whitman. I find it weird because not like he's not at a good camp. For him not to have that in his arsenal is just a strange thing because he's got good with the knees, good with the elbows, good with everything else. It's just a weird thing that he doesn't have there.
Leon looked tall in that face-off that I saw against Kamaru Usman, but we'll get to that coming up in a future segment. Lawler takes on Brian Barberena tonight. Producer Jake all over Barberena. I got Lawler by knockout. No, I don't think it's going to be like an old school Robbie Lawler one-hand knockout. I think it's going to be a kind of like we saw against Nick Diaz type knockout, where maybe Barberena after a while just gets tired and just sits down in the middle of the octagon and says, I'm good tonight. Give me a rocking chair. If you're going to give me plus 350, you know what? I'm just going to, you know how I do. I'll play both sides. Give me both guys by knockout.
Wait, what? What is that? What
Somebody's getting knocked out. Give me both. Give me a little bit of.
All right, man. You know what? Fine. Like, yeah, what are we doing? Yeah, I do have a problem. Pick somebody to win.
All right, what is Robbie Lawler by knockout, and maybe a little bit on Barberena too. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Robbie Lawler. I'm taking Robbie Lawler by decision, and I'm not also taking Brian Barberena by decision. I'm gonna go with ruthless. He's one of my look. I think in some ways I feel like I am betting with my heart. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. I think he's one of the most entertaining fighters of all time. And part of it's like a hope thing. Like I hope he gets the win tonight because I don't want to see the end of Robbie Lawler. Guy's a badass.
Nick, why are you all over Brian Barberena tonight?
I'm not even all over him. I have a decent play on him, but I just think he's been more active. He's been not only like with fights, but in fights, he's been more active. Sean, me and you talked this week earlier with our early bets about Robbie Lawler versus Nick Diaz. And it just didn't look like the same Robbie Lawler. And Brian Barberena is no Nick Diaz. He's a very active, tough, slugging fighter. I just don't see it going Robbie's way. I love Barberena by knockout, TKO, or decision.
Robbie did win the fight, though, Jake. Like, you know, if he would have lost to Nick, I would have been like, uh-oh, you know, he looks old. He looked aight. He didn't look great. I'm with you. He looked aight. Sean Strickland. Yeah, he was aight. Sean Strickland takes on Pereira tonight. I want to get paid tonight, man. Like, I'm trying to make some money. I want to have fun, but I want to get paid, too. Pereira knockout plus 150. If you made me bet, Sean, what's the most likely way this fight finishes, I think that's it. I think Pereira knocks out Sean Strickland. But I can't make any money tonight on doing that. So give me Sean Strickland to sub him at 9-1. By the way, what just flew on you? Was that a mosquito or a bee?
I don't know what that was, dude. I think it was a moth or a mosquito.
That thing was huge. That thing looked like a bird. That might have been a pterodactyl.
Dude, that's what we got down here in South Florida. I don't know what to tell you. We got some crazy, crazy insects. You know, crazy insects, crazy reptiles. So yeah, I don't know, man. So you think that Sean Strickland's going to get his first submission in 8 years?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't have to point that out. I don't love it. That's why I'm getting the 9-1 odds on it. All right, fine. Thank you for pointing that out. Strickland by knockout. I get paid there a little bit at plus 350. That sound better to you?
It sounds much savvier to me. I got to be honest with you. Yeah, I think that's I think that's a pretty good pay for Sean Strickland winning by knockout. If he thinks that, you know, Pereira is it stinks, as he says, like it's just all hype. To me, though, look, make sure you have your cafecito before the Sean Strickland fight because he's going to win a decision. He's going to point you to death. He's going to fight at distance, and then he's going to call out Izzy. He ain't going to excite you tonight. He'll win by decision.
You're just saying that because that's what happened last time, and you're still bitter for some reason. That fight, it was so boring. Kind of like Jake just talking smack on Robbie Lawler. Am I wrong, or did Sean Strickland win that fight? Ultimately, isn't that what you want to do? And now he's next. Like, if he wins this fight, yeah, if it's exciting, he gets to call out Izzy or whoever, you know, the winner ends up being tonight, Cannonier or Israel Adesanya. But that being said, even if it's a boring fight, Sean's next. Like, I don't necessarily know why Pereira would be next, but Strickland should be.
But that's why I don't think he's going to put it all out there. Like, I think that he's savvy enough to know, like, why would I make a mistake against a guy who's as explosive as Pereira is as a striker? Like, I feel like he ties him up. He makes it dirty. I just don't think it ends with a finish. I think that's how he goes and makes it happen.
Do you like hentai, BT? If you do, it's okay.
I do not.
Do you like hentai?
I do not. Weirds me out. Weirds me out. Octopus tentacles going in weird places. No, I can't say I do.
I'm with you there. Brendan Tobin, Sean Levine, Jake Noecker tapped out here on the bet.
Put that for a radio promo, ladies and gentlemen.
For real. Izzy does like that, though.
Good for him.
That's his thing.
I'm in a no judge, dude. I'm in a no judgment zone. The champion of the world can watch whatever the hell he wants to get his rocks off.
Right? He certainly can. Now we'll talk about him versus Cannonier tonight and how you're playing that one. First, let's talk Volkanovski versus Max 3. I kind of let the cat out of the bag earlier, and you and I, we don't agree on much, but we agree on this. Both those fights were incredibly close. We both think that Volk won the first one pretty handily. We both think Max won the second one. Those judges are kind of crazy. Like, I don't get it. Either way, because it feels like the public is like 70-30 on our side, and on Max's side, I should say, that he won that second fight. So the majority of people essentially think that it's split. So as far as the money goes, if I can get plus 160, plus 170 on the guy that I think won the last fight, yeah, I'm all over that. But to be more specific, I don't think he can fight the same way, because I think if he fights the same way, the judges are going to go, okay, this guy has the belt. He had the belt before. They fought now for not just a second, but a third time. It was close again. We can't change hands. The belt can't change hands like that. So my point is, if it's close, they're going to do the same thing they did last time, and it's going to stay with the champion, Volkanovski. Max knows that, so he's going to have to maybe not give more output, because I don't know if that's possible, but go for a knockout opposed to setting all those, significant strikes records and all that he has. So give me Max by knockout at plus 650. I know Volkanovski is not a guy that gets knocked out, but at some point they all do, right? Max puts him on his ass tonight.
Well, this is the thing. If Max knocks him out, I don't think it's going to be with his hands. Like, I feel like Max is going to, like, he's had a lot of success in these fights with the kicks. Like, he's done really well. He's hit him with a couple knees right up the gut. Like,
man, elbows.
Like I could see like Volkanovski going down. He Masvidals him or something like that, man. Like, I really feel like he has had the more versatile arsenal in these fights. Like, I feel like with Volk, we know he's going to hit the leg kicks like crazy. He's got that stiff jab. He's mastered, kind of getting through the buzzsaw to hit those overhand rights as well. But like, none of it is very flashy, which has worked for him. And then he knows, like, if he can go get takedowns, if he thinks a round is close, he's a very smart fighter. Kind of has some Jose Aldo. So I know you love Jose Aldo. Has some Jose Aldo to him, where like Jose Aldo wasn't always the most exciting guy, but man, would chop your legs, would really butcher your opponents as the fights go down. Like, he's really, really smart in that regard. And I just think that Max, he's kind of got to go like kitchen sink at him and throw some pretty wild stuff. Does he get him early? I still feel like that's one of these things where he's going to have to wilt him down a little bit. I like Max getting the finish tonight. And, if you get him, they got some props going on right now. Max Holloway, KO in 3, 4, or 5, plus 1,300. And that's speaking to me.
Here's the thing, though. If we're right, and he's going for a knockout, and he's throwing the kitchen sink at him, like you said, everybody knows that also leaves you open. That also leaves you vulnerable to get knocked out. And Volkanovski showed in the past, not against Max, but against a bunch of other dudes, that he's got that knockout power. Would it be tempting to bet Volkanovski at plus 350 by knockout?
If you think that he's the better fighter, like, look, there's a reason why people are having him as the favorite, which I find a little bit strange, because I do think if you just watch the fight, I think that you saw a much better Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Beat Brian Ortega, so did Max, beat Korean Zombie. Like, I don't mean to dismiss it, but Korean Zombie is past his prime. I just think that for, like, if I were to say who's got the more impressive last 2 wins, I think Max has an arguable resume up against Alexander Volkanovski with beating Yair and beating Calvin Kattar the way that he did. So, for me, I just think that Volk knows that the best way for him to win is to outpoint him, to butcher the legs. I don't think he's really going to go for the finish. I don't think he can finish Max Holloway. Like, what do you have to do to finish Max Holloway? Throw a piano on him? Like, what is the method? He's insane.
I'm glad you point out the Kattar fight and all that in between, because this is not a, say, like a Moreno Figueiredo situation where they just keep fighting each other with no fights in between. Like, we've seen Max. Max went out there. He broke literally his own significant strikes record against that fight against Calvin Kattar, where he was talking about he was the best boxer, and probably was, at least that night, in the UFC. So Max is a better fighter. The question is Volkanovski a better fighter? Because if he's the same dude, then I do think Max wins tonight. I think the Max has a good chance to finish him. All right, talking about a finish, Israel Adesanya, the main event, takes on Jared Cannonier. I know that usually if I take a guy by knockout, it's got to pay me at least 3-1, 5-1. I don't like playing those even money or plus 150s, but I'm going to do it on this one, only because I'm not saying the stage is too big for Cannonier. I'm just saying Israel Adesanya has been there, done that. He's fought a bunch of dudes kind of with the same body structure, kind of the same dudes that are willing to stand there and bang. And I think that Israel Adesanya by knockout, if you want to be more specific, 3rd round knockout over the Killer Gorilla tonight.
This one pains me because I really do respect Israel Adesanya as a fighter, as a champion. I think you're right. I think the guy is very close to being, middleweight GOAT. He has got an opportunity to be there. He's lapping the competition. I think it's him and Izzy. Like, right, it's Izzy and Usman right now is like the top 2 guys. I gotta tell you, man, Killer Gorilla last week sold me. I'm going Cannonier knockout. Dude sold me on the show.
Right now, you can get 6.5 to 1 Killer Gorilla by knockout if you agree with BT. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit more fighting because, well, we got fights tonight in the UFC 276. We break it down. You're tapped out on the BetQL Network.